Hey, Rick, what did you eat last night?
Chips and dips. Nothing more, nothing less. I freely admit it.
What kind of dips?
Oh, Kate, how lucky you asked. I had onion dip, and then I had guacamole, and then I had salsa, and then I had a white bean dip. I had blue chips, and I had regular restaurant-style tortilla chips. And I ate so much. I kept thinking, gosh, Rick, you really need to go get something solid to eat, but it never really happened.
No. Well, at least you didn't eat all the chips and dips and then eat something solid.
True.
You know?
Thank you for finding my positive.
You're welcome.
How about you? What'd you eat?
I had smothered pork chops.
Smothered pork chops. That sounds so delicious and delicate.
It's wonderful. And this is my mom's recipe. I don't know if she made it up or whatever, but it's an onion gravy. So it involves, the challenge of it is it involves OXO cubes, which are beef stock cubes you can only get in England. You can't even get them here anymore in beef because they had this mad cow disease problem like a bunch of years ago in England, I guess. And so we're no longer allowed to import anything beef related from England ever since that. So we have to smuggle them into the country when we go there.
That's so cute.
So yeah, and then just caramelized onions. And I have these beautiful heritage pork chops that I got from this lovely, lovely butcher. A pig that I'm convinced had a very happy life before it gave it up for my dinner.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Nice.
I don't know why I don't make them more often, but I guess it's partly because it's hard to find pork chops that I think have been humanely raised, or, from a pig that's been humanely raised. But, I love it so much. I love good pork.
Oh, that sounds so good. I do miss pork. I do used to remember liking the shredded pork that you could get at restaurants.
So good.
Hello and welcome to another episode of You Won't Believe What I Ate Last Night. I am Rick Fiore.
And I'm Kate DeVore.
And this is our ongoing conversation about food, health, weight management, and our endeavor to be and stay healthy in a really tasty world.
With love, kindness, and compassion towards ourselves and others. Today, we're excited to welcome to the podcast the husband and wife team behind Life Is No Yoke, Shalva and Lenny Gale. No Yoke is a blog and YouTube channel dedicated to Vitamix lovers worldwide. Lenny also maintains the Vitamix Buyer's Guide, and he and Shalva seem to spend all of their free time in the kitchen creating, as they say, vegan Vitamix recipes, basically, and advocating for a whole food, plant-based lifestyle. So today, they're here to talk with us about one meal down or making one meal a day in the blender. So welcome, you two, and thank you so much for being here.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
So our first question is, what did you eat last night?
Shalva, I'll let you do this one.
It's a good question. So we're actually in the process of moving. I believe the movers arrive in 6 days. So we've been eating some pretty hodgepodge meals lately, trying to get rid of the things in our fridge. But we had a fan favorite last night, which is sweet potatoes, like sauteed sweet potatoes, and then Trader Joe's sells this really flavorful, delicious soy chorizo.
Oh my God, we are well aware of the soy rizo. Yeah, we love that.
Good.
I know.
It's always in our fridge. So we just saute up some onions and sweet potatoes. We throw the chorizo on there, and then we try to get some greens in during our meals. So we have some spinach, and we had made a blueberry balsamic vinaigrette earlier in the week that we had some left over. So that was dinner.
That sounds pretty
delicious.
good to me.
Yeah. All right. Note for the chorizo, Rick. Yeah, because we use that all the time.
Yeah, it's a tasty.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah. So you guys work with the blender, but specifically you work with the Vitamix. So what is it about the Vitamix? Why is it different than other blenders? Why do you, in short, why do you like that one?
Oh, this guy could talk for an hour about this.
That's why I said in short, Lenny.
The Vitamix is a magical machine. It's more than a blender. It's the thing that's hiding behind the counters of all the stores that you get your smoothies from. And it's the secret to why those smoothies taste so good. It's not their recipes. It's not their ingredients. They have a Vitamix behind the counter. And to get those results, that luscious, creamy, smooth consistency of smoothies, of whole food juices. You're gonna get that in a Vitamix. And from my experience, people who try the cheap $20 blenders, the mid-market $100 blenders that say they can do everything, nobody gets the results. We've seen hundreds and hundreds of people tell us that they got a Vitamix, they use them every single day, and their life is totally changed.
I was one of those people, Lenny, for the longest time.
Yeah. Me too. My friends accused me of being like a cult and a commercial for the Vitamix.
Kate had one first, then I got one, and I went through all these terrible blenders. And what's so wonderful about this moment, this is a little share here, a full moment circle here for us. Like on our second or third podcast, Kate and I were obsessing about how much we love the Vitamix. And we had this joke, oh, wouldn't it be great if someone from Vitamix reached out to us or knows the Vitamix really well to talk about it? So this is a very full moment for us.
Here we are.
Have an expert about the Vitamix.
That's fabulous. I love hearing that. I actually had no idea that you guys were Vitamix owners. You might have mentioned it in some of our correspondence, but I was hoping that you guys were. So this makes it even more fun because we can kind of just nerd out about the stuff.
Lenny, you have to check out their videos online. They really do nerd out. It's really, really funny and fun.
It's a fun niche. It's a good geek niche. So how did it come about? You guys, Vitamix, smoothies, how did you evolve into what you're doing right now?
Okay, so I'll take this one. It happened about 5 years ago. I was well into a corporate consulting job, traveling, living this unhealthy lifestyle, and I started to get back into smoothies to turn things around, change the way that I eat. I went through again, the $20, the $100 blender, and when I decided to finally take it seriously, I took the plunge and got a Vitamix. And in deciding to, I said, I want to make this my life's work. I found on the Vitamix website, they had an affiliate program. I signed up, I called them. I remember the conversation vividly. Like this, it almost makes me cry every time I talk about it. I was heading home from a week at a client at the airport. I was on the phone with Vitamix, the person who was in charge of this program at the time, and I said, I'm going to be your biggest affiliate ever. And this is going to free me from the consulting, traveling grind that I'm stuck in. Thank you very much. And like as they say, the rest is history.
That's amazing.
It was a fluke. It was luck. It was right timing, just like everything is. But it's what changed my life, and it's what I've chosen to make my life's work. Helping people turn their lives around with one simple blend every single day.
And Shalva, both of you guys, it seems from what I've read about you, you guys basically left high-paying corporate jobs, did you not, to do this?
That is exactly what we did, yeah. So Lenny started this company totally solo by himself, built it up. And when we started dating, I was really into that point in my life where I had just gotten to the point where I thought being healthy was important. I got through that whole my 20s just eating whatever I wanted and drinking all the time, and it started catching up to me. And so I was kind of in that process also of deciding, this is what's important now. I really want to take care of myself. And I wasn't loving the job I was in. And Lenny's like, I'm starting to get bigger than I can do myself. Can you help me for a little while? Let's just do this for a few months together. And it's been a year and a half.
Yeah. Exclusively.
Yeah. And we're both just exclusively doing this. And I gotta say, we're both so much happier doing something we care about, doing something that makes us feel good, that makes other people feel good. If everyone could do what we're doing, I would suggest doing it, except there'd be some competition then.
Yeah.
Well, the thing that's so exciting about that for us is that, you heard the intro. Our podcast is about staying in healthy in a tasty world with love, kindness, and compassion towards yourselves and others. And that involves doing things that make you happy, not unhappy, and finding ways to create that niche for yourself that turns you on and makes you really happy. So that's what's terrific.
A little tidbit of trivia. Shalva, growing up, your dream job, what was it?
to be a food designer.
Seriously.
Like as a 6-year-old, I wanted to be the person that like put Vaseline on pizza to make it beautiful for commercials. And suddenly I found myself like,
That's what she
this
does.
is actually what I do every day.
How handy. You're a food stylist. That's awesome.
Oh, that's so great.
It worked out.
All right, so let's talk about the health benefits that come from using a blender over anything else.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, this kind of gets into blending versus juicing. And the benefits to blending, if it's smoothies or blending a whole food juice, are enormous. This is the difference between when you do a juice, these cold pressed juices, they are extracting the essential nutrients and the fiber that you're getting from, let's say, it's the difference between eating an apple and like basically drinking apple juice. And what happens is it's basically like drinking sugar, and your body has a insulin spike, and then it shoots back down, and you're like, oh my gosh, I need more. And it's like having a candy bar. Whereas if you're gonna have a whole food juice, it's like eating the whole apple, or it's like eating a stick of celery instead of celery juice. It takes your body a lot of time and effort to metabolize and to work through this food and these nutrients. And so the benefit to blending is you get to create these wonderful drinks and these wonderful foods, but you're not wasting any of these essential nutrients. And it's the closest thing to walking in the jungle, grabbing something off the tree and eating it.
Is there anything either more or less beneficial to blending something than eating it whole? I get that it's better to blend it than to juice it, but is it better to eat a whole apple or to blend it up and eat it? Or do we know?
That's a good question. And I think the answer is that it's easier to blend. I mean, what goes into my morning juice, it would take me a significant amount of time to chew and swallow all of that food. I mean, it's honestly, sometimes we'll have a big salad and I'm like, my jaw hurts, you know? That was a lot of work.
Right, those carrots are hard. Yeah.
Man,
That's why I avoid them.
But I think that is really the benefit, is that you can get a full apple, a full cup of kale, a full cup of spinach, some seeds, some nuts, all into, a 16-ounce glass and get it down if you wanted to chug it in 30 seconds, instead of sitting there with the fork for a half hour.
Well, that's a good transition to, are there any particular foods that you find that help with particular ailments or problems, particularly in relation to weight loss or weight management?
Yeah, definitely. So, we've talked about smoothies a lot, but we use the Vitamix quite a bit for our other meals. I am one of those people that my brain has been trained to only feel full if I have carbohydrates. I'm not full unless there's bread involved or pasta or rice or something involved. And so it's really taken some training for me to feel full off of a non-carbohydrate food. And not that carbs are terrible for you or that we're saying don't eat carbs, but, having a loaf of bread for lunch probably isn't your best bet. So we make quite a few recipes that are really healthy and nutritious, but also filling. And so our go-to is detox salad. I put cauliflower, cabbage, kale, carrots,
and that's pretty much it.
And it's chopped into tiny, tiny pieces, and then we toss it with an avocado dressing that we make, and then we put raisins and sunflower seeds in it. I'm so full after eating one serving of this that I couldn't, if you put bread in front of me, I couldn't even eat it. Same thing with we have a butternut squash soup that's a balsamic butternut squash soup. And if you served me butternut squash cut up in pieces, I'd be like, cool, can we put this on some ravioli?
Where's the sage brown butter?
Exactly.
And can you have us over for dinner, Shalva, please?
But this soup really is extremely filling. And so, just kind of slowly starting to train yourself to feel full off of foods that aren't necessarily carbohydrates. It has kind of been my trick for for weight loss and weight management, and telling my brain that it's not necessary to have pretzels with every meal.
So that's the weight loss thing.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Rick.
You guys, I was just going to say, Shalva, it's so
thing.
funny you say that, because last night for an hour, the conversation in my head was all about that. I'm full, but I don't feel full, and particularly because of the carbohydrate. And then I had the conversation for so long, I just eventually exhausted myself and fell asleep on the couch.
That's the way to do it. Yeah, just exhaust yourself into weight loss.
It's like a puppy. Just run until you just literally fall over.
Exactly.
Because I think that's such an important
too
point.
tired to feed yourself any more bread.
Yeah, because that's such an important point, because there's a difference between obviously nutrition and then satisfaction, that you can feel full and you can have all this stuff in your system, but you're not satisfied. It's such an important point.
Yeah, and I think letting yourself have those things is also important. If I make an awesome dip or a spread and I want to eat it with pita bread, I'm going to, and that's okay. I'm not ordering a pizza for dinner, so it's already a win, and it's, it's totally okay to have pita and vegetables to dip into whatever I'm making.
Yeah. I think that brings up a good point too about feeling full. I think a lot of times people associate feeling full with feeling terrible.
Yeah.
Once in a while, we'll go to a Italian restaurant and we order pasta, and we're like, "Oh my God, I'm so full, I can't move. Roll me out of here." But then there's the other kind of full, which is a wonderful kind of full, where it's like, I'm so full and so satisfied. How do I do this again?
Yeah.
I know I'm not hungry, but I don't feel terrible. What's going on?
Well, and that's part of our training. I think that as Americans, unfortunately, our serving sizes are so large that we're just trained to feel full when we feel like we can't eat anymore. I couldn't possibly put another bite in my mouth is when we're full. And that's so ridiculous. Like, it's just a ridiculous thought.
Yeah.
Do it. I mean, it's definitely still something that like everyone struggles with. But if you really think about it, it's a silly way to live your life.
For sure.
Yeah, I was looking around for something to eat not too long ago, and there was something in the fridge. I can't remember what it was. It was like a lentil quinoa thing or something that's very satisfying for me and also fills me. And I was like, no, I don't want that, because then I'll be full. Like, oh, how interesting. Apparently my agenda right now is different.
Not to be full.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
That's funny.
So yeah, I love that. Is that detox salad you talked about? Is that on your blog?
It is, yeah. So the salad itself we make in the Vitamix. We just use the tamper to chop all those things, which saves a ton of time.
You can chop in there without it pureeing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is there a trick to that? Like, how do you do that? Because I'm pretty sure I would liquefy them if I tried to do that.
Yeah, there's a couple different ways to chop in a Vitamix. With certain vegetables, you can do a dry chop, quote unquote, and that's just putting the vegetables in golf ball sized pieces and running it on variable speed 1, and that kind of just tosses them up, and like it's like, almost like you throw it up and hit it with a knife.
Yeah.
That's dry chop, and a wet chop is for other I think less like hard ingredients. So like the opposite of cauliflower, you add the ingredients with water, and then run the blender, the Vitamix. So then, and then when you're done, you drain it. You drain like 1 or 2, variable speed 1 or 2.
So you don't even pulse it. You actually just run it on low.
With the wet chop, yeah. It's almost like making a smoothie with these chunks and not processing it so it's smooth, and then you drain the water. We hardly use the wet chop.
Barely use the wet chop.
The dry chop is the way to go.
So how do you guys stay healthy in a really tasty world?
Shalva 5 years ago would have answered this very differently, but Shalva today thinks that so many healthy foods can be tasty that it's almost not a challenge anymore. Like, there are so many foods that we make that I crave that are so bold and so flavorful that are made with good things and healthy things. And I love buttercream frosting, and I love, cinnamon rolls and whatever it is. But I also love the curry peanut butter we made the other night, and the blueberry balsamic vinaigrette we made the other night. And like, those things are so flavorful and delicious that those are the tasty things that I want. I think also when I started to think about that question, you're your flavor profile kind of changes over time. And I have always been someone that sugar and carbs are my thing. But I've slowly kind of gotten away from that just by helping myself eat healthy. I don't crave it as much, but also when I do have it, it's not as satisfying as it used to be. It's too sweet or it tastes artificial to me or something of that nature. But I really think that living in a tasty world can be a healthy world too, and that there's things that are just so delicious that are good for you. But also Lenny and I are both the kind of people that will sit down and eat, a pound of dark chocolate because it's also delicious. And that's totally okay.
Yeah.
And that's,
Right.
I used to feel really bad when I would do something like that. But if you had a kale smoothie for breakfast and butternut squash soup for lunch, you can have whatever you want, not feel bad about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. We talked on this podcast a number of times about the concept of resetting your hedonistic set point, which is what you're describing, is when suddenly all of those things are the things you crave, the things that are tasty and healthy, as opposed to the ice cream or whatever. The second half of the question is, how do you stay healthy in a tasty world? How do you do it with love, kindness, and compassion towards yourself and others?
Well, this is a tough one. One of the biggest criticisms that I get from Shalva, from people that tell Shalva, is a concern about being judged and feeling guilty for making decisions that aren't necessarily healthy. So I think what I always try and focus on is just positive reinforcement and say, hey, like, whatever people do, I'm giving them a high five, because people are generally proud of eating healthy. And when they are, like, eating healthy is a relative scale for everyone. And when they do it, whether that means ordering chicken instead of beef, whether that means egg whites instead of whole eggs, whether that means a green smoothie in the morning, whatever it is, this is a step in the right direction for them. And it is worthy of a big high five. And so I think that remembering that everything is relative and baby steps and momentum are the key to success, I find that's the best way to address or to work with other people in their journey compassionately.
That's lovely.
Well said. What are the category of items that you guys think you need for a smoothie for vegan and non-vegan, like sweet, leafy, creamy, liquid, etc.?
Yeah.
How do you think about it when you're putting together a recipe?
And let's throw in there protein. If you feel it's important, how would you get protein in there?
So we make a green smoothie. Actually, it's a green juice every single morning. And there's 3 parts and there's 3 keys. Here are the 3 parts. Part 1, a little bit of fruit. Okay? So if it's pineapple, if it's banana, apple, orange, whatever you have, put it in. Fruit. Part 2, greens. Deep, dark, leafy greens are the best. We use kale, we use spinach, whatever we have, greens. Part 3, seeds. Put in some seeds. If it's flax seeds, chia seeds, hemp seeds, whatever you have, doesn't need to be everything. A little bit of seeds. Those 3 together are the basis for the perfect green juice. A little bit of fruit, a little bit of greens, a little bit of seeds. And then the 3 keys. So this is what is going to make your green juice fabulous and more than just taste like a salad. Key number 1, lemon. A little bit of lemon gives it that citrus taste. You can use the peel. Tastes just like the lemon. 2, ginger. It's a root. It's so good for you, and it has that aftertaste, gives it an amazing flavor. And then number 3 is water and ice. When you make a juice, you want it to be 2 things. Juicy, a whole food juice. You don't want it to be a salad. You want to drink it. And 2, you want it to be cold. And so that's why we put ice on top, water and ice. It's going to, the Vitamix or whatever blender you use is going to process it. And it's going to, you want to run for a couple minutes. Friction's going to build up. You want that ice to give it that nice, cool, juicy consistency. So those 3 keys again: lemon, ginger, water plus ice. And then as a bonus, if you really want to make it delicious, add a little bit of jalapeno to give it a little bit of kick. Totally optional. But that, we find, really rounds it out to make this wonderful symphonic taste experience for green juice.
That's awesome. I use cilantro instead of the jalapeno, but I know a lot of people hate cilantro, but it's the same idea.
Talk to us about protein.
Everyone thinks they need more protein than they need, right?
Yeah, I think we've kind of been marketed to, especially in the last few years, everything says extra protein, extra protein, extra protein. And unless you're a weightlifter, extra protein isn't necessary. Yeah. We really have completely dropped the protein shakes from our diets. And part of that is that they're really high in calories. And for someone like me who's just trying to maintain where I am, I don't need a $500 calorie breakfast. You know, it's not necessary. I'm not training hard. I don't necessarily need all that protein. We get plenty of protein in our healthy lifestyle, in the diet that we're committed to eating already through plants.
Yep.
And that's something that people ask all the time. Well, if you're living a plant-based lifestyle, how do you even get protein?
Yeah.
Protein only comes from animals.
Right.
And, yes, it does. That is true. But there's lots of things that we eat on a daily basis that give us enough that we don't feel like we have to add protein to our smoothies.
Yeah, I want to make one point.
Right.
You look at some of like the most robust, large, strong animals. So like the gorillas, elephants,
Hippos.
horses, hippos. These are all herbivores.
Herbivores.
Like, all they eat is grass, leaves, berries, twigs. and so.
So you're saying we should put twigs in our smoothies? Okay.
Yes. I mean, Vitamix could handle it.
Yeah. Good.
Try it.
Be a little grainy. The people need less protein than they think, and then people need more fiber than they think.
Yeah.
No one's ever gone to the doctor and say, "Oh, you're deficient in protein." It's like you go to the doctor, you're having stomach issues or you're having whatever issues, and they're like, "Well, maybe you should eat more fiber." Mm-hmm. That's like the non-doctor advice that you could give everyone. Eat more fiber, drink more water if you're not feeling well. And so by making these smoothies and these whole food juices and living this whole food plant-based lifestyle is such a good way to increase that fiber intake and still get the protein that you need.
Excellent. What's the best advice about health, wellness, and nutrition that you've ever received?
So I would say that the best advice I've ever received is to celebrate my successes instead of wallowing in my failures.
Oh, that's great.
I think especially for women, health is psychology, and we feel guilty about our choices a lot. And I think a big part of me used to feel so bad that I made a bad choice, instead of being like, wait, but I've been making really good choices all week. And so this one bad choice, I'm out with my friends and I got a slice of pizza, shouldn't really feel that bad anymore. And I think the more I celebrate how well I'm doing, the less bad I feel about those choices that I make that aren't good, which happen. And that's okay. And I don't want to be the kind of person that makes only good choices. That's what a boring lifestyle.
Totally.
A lot of my happiness comes from food. And Lenny is like, what do you say? 80% of my brain power is planning my next meal. Like, I mean, I live my life that way. If we plan a vacation, I'm just looking at restaurants. I don't care what museums are there. Like, I know where I'm eating. But I can now feel good about eating incorrectly, if you will, because I feel so good about eating correctly.
Mm-hmm.
That's
so
great.
I think that's changing that mentality for myself has been the best lesson.
Well said. All right, that's great. All right, so what are the 5 items that are always on your shopping list?
And why?
So when we are out of bananas, it's time to go to the store. Obviously, they're great for smoothies. They go in quite a few of our smoothies.
We put them in our green juice every morning.
Yep, and then we also use them for frozen desserts. So if we're craving something sweet, we need something that to cut, the savory taste from dinner, we do nice cream and just blend up a frozen banana with some other kind of fruit or not, and have that for dessert. So bananas are like clutch. Like if we're out, we got to go to the store. So that's one thing.
You'd think a monkey lives at our house. There's so many bananas. Greens. We do the green juice every morning. It's usually a bunch of kale and a bunch of spinach. We keep it pretty simple. That's 2. 3.
Red peppers, which sounds like a silly one, but we make our like most famous recipe, the recipe that's like repinned the most on Pinterest and talked about the most. Like if we were famous for something, it'd be our cashew queso. The secret ingredient is a red pepper. It gives it like the right color, the right consistency, the right kick. It's kind of like a cheesy, nacho-y dip that is all plant-based, and we have it in our fridge at all times.
Haha!
It's like magic sauce.
Yes.
Good on everything. It's good dipped. Everything is dipped in it. It makes that better.
It's good hot. It's good cold. Like
wow.
Yeah.
I'm very excited about this.
Our friends are like, you have to sell this. You have to jar it up and sell it.
We're like, no, just get a Vitamix and make it yourself.
Yeah. It's a bigger sale for us if you buy the Vitamix. So.
That's right. It's better.
Okay, red pepper. We have 3. We have 2 more.
I have 2 left.
We talked about dark chocolate. I really like dark chocolate. She likes it a little less than me, but we shop at Trader Joe's. We're in the United States. We're in a city. We found this bar of dark chocolate. I think it's like 5 pounds. It's like something that you'd see at like Willy Wonka's factory.
It's for baking.
Yeah.
It's for baking, but they have like, it's
Sweet.
like the most enormous chocolate bar you've ever seen. It's almost absurd. And you break off a square, and it's like an entire candy bar.
Yeah.
We love that.
Lenny has to take like a giant knife to it and like karate chop it down. It's a good workout, actually.
Yeah.
However you get it.
And then the 5th one.
We have to have green olives. Like, it's so random, but we both are like the salty, savory type of people, and we go through like a whole thing of green olives once a week. I mean,
we like green olives.
We love green olives.
Those are fun because we got some on there that we don't always get from people. We get a lot of repeats, and so that was a fun answer.
That's perfect.
All right.
That's awesome. So how can we find you guys? We've talked about your blog and your other stuff. So give us the lowdown for people who want to follow you, who want to buy their Vitamix from you. Tell us things.
lifeisnoyoke.com. Go there. We have all of our things there. Connect with us. We love, love, love to hear from you, to connect from you. You could jump on our newsletter. You could follow us on YouTube. We have a huge Instagram following. Whatever your flavor, whatever you like,
whatever your method of choice.
But just connect with us, because like conversations like this, they're one way until you connect with us. So
yeah, and we've really spent a lot of time developing resources to help people A, buy a Vitamix, but B, use it, because a Vitamix is a really big investment, and it's a shame if you're going to make a smoothie once a week in it. That's a wasted thing, and so. We've built all these recipes and all of these ideas and different demos so that people feel really good about that. Our website has all the resources you could possibly need if you're thinking of a Vitamix, if you're already an owner.
And the other thing I will say is that we have an amazing relationship with Vitamix, and they call us up and they're like, hey, we have this like really limited lot that we want to make, get out of our warehouse. We'll give you this exclusive deal and just, set up your people with this deal. So we get these exclusive deals that are amazing. We get really excited about them, and, people kind of come to us for these special deals. So
it's a really amazing site. There's so much information on there. You definitely need to check it out.
Yeah, I'm very excited because I know I underuse my Vitamix, so I'm excited about finding new ways to use it more. And speaking of connecting, if you're listening to this podcast and you don't already, subscribe to us. You won't believe what I ate last night on iTunes and YouTube, and you can follow us on Instagram and Facebook and our website, youwon'tbelievewhatIate.com.
And remember, if you have any questions or thoughts or topics, most importantly, we always like to hear what you ate last night. So all you have to do is send us a recording from your phone, and we can incorporate it into the show. Thanks so much for listening. You guys,
thank you guys
awesome.
so much. You've been terrific. Thanks so
Super
much.
sweet.
Having us.
Thanks, guys.